Because I want to get Reggie Garcia to weigh in on this. Reggie, I've been in these situations where I put everything on the record because I am scared that the client is going to accuse me of being ineffective. And, you know, that's the post-trial application of ineffective assistance of counsel. Do you think that in this case, Toby White was protecting himself from that?
Well, I thought he did a good job. You know, you always maybe in the end second guess, should I put the defendant on? That's the toughest decision I think a defense lawyer and
it's up to the defendant
has to decide. You know, on the one hand, they don't have a burden. On the other, I think, and I've been a juror, you're sitting there with your juror life experiences. If someone's unfairly accused you know, most people would think that they would take the stand and say, I didn't do it, I wasn't there, I saw somebody else do it, no, I didn't have the gun. But here I believe it was a good idea, and it was tied to the potential issue of whether Mr. Barones had a knife, and if so, whether he lunged, I believe the testimony was, by some, and thus would have implicated a potential self-defense. So maybe preserving an issue on appeal.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of issues that he's trying to preserve on appeal. Chanley Painter, Mr. Washington, I believe, faces life in prison. What is the range for his potential sentence?
Well, under Michigan law, second-degree murder is up to life, but it's at the discretion of the judge. It could be any term of years. So that's why this pre-sentencing report will be so critical for Stephen Washington. You know, this judge will consider his criminal history or lack thereof. The prosecutor did inform us that he was thinking maybe 18 to 25 years is something that the judge may come to, given the conviction for second-degree murder. And the other two felonies he's convicted of with the weapons charges carry, 2 years and 5 years. So again, it'll be up to the judge when he looks at the report and thinks what may be just and fair.
But the lawyers at this point think it'll all be concurrent, right? I mean, it just seems like that would be the most justifiable sentence at this point, not back-to-back-to-back sentences.
Right, that's totally up to the judge in this case, and Judge Kennedy seemed set to be the one to determine sentencing, even though the defense asked for Judge Jamo to be the one to sentence him at the sentencing hearing. But Kennedy said, no, I've heard most of the testimony and evidence in this trial and would be best to decide.
Yeah, Chanley, thank you. You just reminded me. Last question. Do we have any idea why the defense was asking for Judge Jamo to be the sentencing judge? That was odd.
Right. Well, when Judge Jamo had his family emergency last week, they still asked for a mistrial, saying they would rather Judge Jamo sit and be in this trial. And again, they reaffirmed that by asking for him again. So it's interesting, but maybe that they think he would be a little more lenient. Who knows what they're thinking, but they decided to ask for that.
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, these lawyers, they practice there. They have the inside track. Chanley Painter, thank you so much for your reporting. We'll get back to you later on in the program. Folks, the verdict is in. Stephen Washington, guilty of all counts. Our exclusive gavel-to-gavel coverage of Michigan versus Washington continues right after this.
Joan, this is Medical Alert. We just had a fall detected. Are you okay?
Yes. I fell and hurt my ankle. I don't think I can walk home.
Okay, we've dispatched emergency services to 222 Virginia Avenue. Would you like us to call your daughter?
Yes, thank you. Accidents are scary. Thankfully, I'm protected, whether I'm alone or out with friends. I got Medical Alert.
Never worry again with Medical Alert. With GPS location services and automatic fall detection, you get emergency help even if you can't push your button. And the other guys can charge you $69 a month. That's ridiculous. That's why you need Medical Alert. Now you can get our best price ever, just $19.95. We're so sure you'll love the peace of mind you get, we guarantee it. Plus, you can wear your button in the bath or shower where you really need added protection.
I love my independence, and I don't intend to slow down anytime soon. I go bike riding, I travel all the time, and I'll always love shopping.
Call 800-800-0542 and get protected even faster with free priority processing, free shipping, and free activation. And at only $19.95, get our best price ever.
Since I got the help I needed right away when I fell, I was back on my feet in no time, doing the things I love, like traveling.
Call 800-800-0542 now to get the best price ever on Medical Alert. Plus, get protected even faster with free priority processing, free shipping, and free activation.
I feel safe, thanks to Medical Alert.
Call now to get our best price ever, only $19.95, so act now. Plus, you'll get free priority processing, free shipping, free activation, and free fall detection. This is a limited time offer. Don't wait. This offer won't last long. Call 800-800-0542 now.
Non-attorney spokesperson. This is a paid advertisement for legal services sponsored by Nightline Legal. Cases assigned on a random basis to participating law firms. See disclaimer for law firms.
Attention cancer victims who use the weed killer Roundup. A federal jury unanimously found that Monsanto's popular weed killer Roundup was a substantial factor in causing cancer. You may be entitled to financial compensation. If you or a loved one used Roundup weed killer and were diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, call the number on your screen now.
Call 800-520-6545.
If you're over 50, imagine you could turn back the clock on your stiff, achy joints 10, even 20 years. Imagine you could do this without products that just temporarily hide the symptoms and may have side effects. Imagine no more. Introducing Instaflex Advanced. And right now you can get a complimentary sample of this amazing product just by texting GREEN to 369-369. Instaflex Advanced is different because it targets the root cause of joint soreness and stiffness. It doesn't just cover up symptoms. Instead, it bathes your joints in its unique combination of 5 key natural ingredients found in no other product and backed by 5 clinical studies. Instaflex Advanced feels like turning back the clock on your joints. It's so powerful you can have better knees in just 1 week. Maybe that's why it's the #1 selling joint brand at GNC. But you can only get your complimentary sample by texting GREEN to 369-369. We couldn't make this offer if Instaflex Advanced didn't work. Prove it to yourself by texting GREEN to 369-369.
Ivan told you exactly how he committed this murder. Ivan gets immunity. And Ivan wants to try to push this off on Stephen Washington or anybody, but mostly Stephen Washington. And he has no reason to shoot. He has no reason to defend his girlfriend because his girlfriend is on top winning. Why would he shoot?
That was defense attorney Toby White pointing the finger at the state's star witness in the case of Michigan versus Stephen Washington. The jury has spoke. The verdict is in guilty on all counts. And it's leaving a lot of people wondering why. It took this jury only 4 hours to get to a verdict of guilty on all counts when so many witnesses could not identify the defendant, Stephen Washington. No witness could put a gun in Stephen Washington's hands. There were witnesses who didn't even hear a gunshot. So why? Why did it take them so soon, so quickly to reach this verdict? Well, we want to take you back and look at some of the crucial pieces of evidence. Chanley Painter walked through the crime scene. Let's show you that right now.
It was the early morning hours of October 12, 2018, around 2:30 a.m., much darker than it is right now. Ivan Keener, the state's star witness, said it all happened here in this parking lot. The girls they had come to fight exited from this door, and the girl fight began right here.
They both started fighting, and then Angela jumped in too. Then the girl was like yelling for Aleka, I believe.
During the fight, their shouts drew the attention of Isai Barones, who exited from this terrace, came around the bushes, and that's when Ivan Keener says he saw what looked like a knife in Isai Barones' hand. Ivan Keener said he yelled, "He has a knife, he has a knife," and then Keener ran along the grass. Ivan Keener says the two square up 3 to 4 feet apart. That's when Keener says Isai makes some sort of gesture towards Washington. Washington extends his right hand. Keener hears a gunshot, and Isai turns and collapses on the ground. With Barones' body still on the ground, Ivan Keener says he ran this way to grab his cousin so they could flee the scene. He drove the group away, not stopping, not looking back, not calling 911.
Chanley Painter, thank you so much for your reporting. Still with me on set, Reggie Garcia. Reggie, that piece really illuminates what happened that evening, where everybody was. And when you look at all the evidence, there still is just not anyone who clear-cut points out Stephen Washington as having done that, which is why I'm left now thinking Stephen Washington maybe should have testified.
Yeah, if you're unfairly accused, I think the jurors expect you, notwithstanding that you have a presumption to not self-incriminate yourself, to get up there and defend yourself. Ms. Painter's terrific reporting there brought it home, took us to the scene, even heard audio. I think jurors bring their life experiences. I've been a juror in a case. They're going to hold somebody responsible if there's a fatality, especially here where there was a young college student, seemingly innocent, just going about his regular life. But the more I looked at this, I was like, our parents and grandparents told us nothing good happens after midnight. And boy, what a mess this was.
That's right. There's a song, Nothing Good Ever Happens After 2 a.m. And it's true because this happened after 2 a.m. Now, one reason, and I think all the lawyers in the room thought of this, was, okay, he probably didn't testify because maybe he has a rap sheet. Well, he does. So we're going to show that now, and we're going to go through this because this may have been part of at least Stephen Washington's process in deciding not to testify. In January 2016, he was booked for aggravated assault and conspiracy, and this was, I think, in Tunica, which I think is in Mississippi. Yes, it's in Mississippi, thank you. June 2010, domestic assault. He got 3 months probation. He has been arrested for no driver's license, disturbing the peace, uninsured motorist. That all seems pretty pretty minor. This was back in 2010. In July 2013, he's got a telephone harassment charge. So those are, that's his criminal history, which was probably decided at a pretrial hearing whether he would testify. Maybe some of that would come out because the jury is supposed to see you as you, but not to the extent that it's going to prejudice you, right?
That's right. And I saw the ag assault charge and the domestic violence charge as serious. And frankly, informing law enforcement, my father was in law enforcement, they think a certain way. And when they see charges like that, that doesn't immediately make him a suspect, but it starts to confirm once they do some investigation, maybe some of their biases, and we've seen that in other cases. Certainly that played a role in whether the defense lawyer was even willing to put him up, and then ultimately his decision as the defendant, do I get on the stand or not? I always think it's a mistake. If you're innocent, you better get up there and tell the jury why and how you're innocent. If not, you're running the risk for exactly what we saw today.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I know that as defense lawyers, we're trained to tell our clients not to testify, but I just think that human nature, these jurors want to hear from you. And it's very hard for them to reconcile, okay, this is what the law says, but I still want to hear from this person. Now, here's an interesting fact, and this could have played in this case in a few different ways. Stephen Washington was acquitted on charges of attempted armed robbery with a firearm and aggravated assault with a firearm during a one-day trial in 2018 in Tunica, Mississippi. So here's my question. Do you think that acquittal with a firearm assault, did that acquittal perhaps give Stephen Washington a false sense of security or emboldened him in this trial?
Good question. It's hard to know what he or she, the defendant, he is thinking in this case with so much at stake, including a potential life sentence when you're 30 years old. That had to factor in. I didn't sense that the defense was overconfident. I think they thought that the jurors would see what I thought was a lot of reasonable doubt, including this alleged star witness, Ivan, who frankly came across to me sleazier than the defendant.
Well,
am I allowed to say that?
Yeah, I think you are. Well, Ted Rollins is allowed to say it. I'm not allowed to say any bad words, but Ted Rollins gets a free pass. Okay, but no, I think that's that's a great point, but I don't think it's Toby White that had some false bravado at the case. I think Stephen Washington may have. Now, here's another factor I want you to think about. This prior acquittal, so it's an assault, it's firearm. We do not know the basis of the acquittal, right? Like, I mean, who knows the reason? Perhaps a witness didn't come in, there was a lack of evidence, like, we don't know. But could that acquittal have been used in any way against Stephen Washington if he testified?
Again, good question. Not an expert on Michigan law and process, and particularly on evidence on whether it could have come in at all, and if so, to what extent. Look, let's be honest, even with an acquittal, people create a presumption in their mind if there was a charge. They give the benefit of the doubt to law enforcement that there must have been something there.
Listen, they may have been able to use it if he opened the door and he testified, but we're about to find out a lot more about this case, Reggie Garcia, because we have the defense attorney, Toby White, joining us after this break to talk about this stunning verdict. That's next.